Hello, Alyssa.
Hi, hi. Record. Now we are recording everybody, so just on the best behaviors. um, again, I'm really honored and happy to open up the conversation for this moment. We are going to be in conversation with and I'm sorry if I butcher anyone's name in advance. Please forgive me. Hunair Emin, Pedram Baldari, Sahar Tariq, I had before, Taragi, Sener Osman, Nuveen Barari, who will not be here today, but has been instrumental in developing this exhibition, and Bezar Adarani. This exhibition came to us through an opportunity through the GMU Kurdish Student Association. So we'll hear more from them momentarily, but I just wanted to dive in and let you know what we'll be doing during the duration of the exhibition, and what's more to come. So the exhibition, Kim, as Who Am I, will be on view at Mason Exhibitions Arlington until November, I have the in my brain, October 25th. We are open Wednesday through Saturday, Wednesday 11 to 7, and Thursday through Saturday 11 to 5. So please come visit anytime, bring a coffee. We have a library, we have books, we have cool people to come hang out with. So you're welcome to come and hang out and see the work in person. We encourage that if you are in the neighborhood. So just to give a background and the themes and the content of what the work is about, as diverse as the Kurdish experience is, the artists in this show work through various mediums of painting and sculpture, photography, multimedia installations, and really digging into the context that this is a historical and current day context of statelessness, migration, and cultural survival. The artists explore themes of displacement, resilience, memory, culture, hope, and the self. This exhibition aims to foster a deeper understanding and appreciation of the Kurdish culture and its ongoing dialogue with the world, while offering insights into complex political and cultural landscapes that Kurdish people navigate globally. And to give context of how the name came to be and all of that, the theme of the collective comes from a poem by Kurzweil. Please correct me if I'm pronouncing the poet's name incorrectly. And so I will read a translated excerpt from that poem in English, just to give some context. So the poem excerpt is: I am a proud Kurd, enemy to the enemy, a friend to the peace seekers. I am a noble person, not a savage as they claim. The occupier is not leaving my land without a fight. My ancestors lived here freely. I don't want to live forever oppressed. Who am I? So the title and the response and the synergy of the show and our responses are our response and responding to a surmise of those words. I do want to share the programming that we'll be having that will engage the content, and as everything that we do at Mason Exhibitions is to really have intersections of moments of learning, of education, and also for those that don't know about any current events happening in this environment. So we'll have hybrid events and things that will be in person. The next event after this will be October 17. It will be a hybrid event from 6 to 8 p.m. And it will be led by our colleague and collaborator Holly Mason Badura, who has put together 3 Kurdish PhD scholars across Mason that will talk about the research and also making connections to the artwork in the show. So they're going to be coming to the gallery, really looking at the work as, research and thoughtfulness, and finding ways that their research intersects with the topics of the artwork, either materially or in concept. So the panelists for that are going to be Arash Saleh, Golzar Saleh, and Omar Pascal. So invite you to come and be in conversation and really hear a deeper synthesis of others' research in regards to the work that we're doing here. The next exhibition event that we'll have will be October 4th, and it's in collaboration with the Arlington Art Walk. So the Arlington Art Walk this is our fourth year doing it. It is an elevated experience of programming that 7 or 8 venues in the immediate area do. Where we open up later, we offer elevated programming, we commingle our guests so we all can make new friends and get new contacts and really share what we're doing in our art practices and our spaces. And so October 4th, in the gallery here, we'll have the show on, of course, and we are elevating it with a deck tattoo artist that will come and do deck symbols with henna. So they'll be temporary, but folks will be able to experience and learn about that practice. And also we will have musicians in our outdoor breezeway. So it'll be a fun, festive moment for folks to come in and experience and engage with what we're doing here. And then lastly, we'll have our closing event, which will be in person here in the gallery. We'll have food, fun, and dancing. But then again, Holly will be coming back with another poet and her book launch, doing a book reading, and we'll also have a Saz musician here. So it'll be very festive, very fun, very, very lively. Very excited for all of that. So I would like to introduce Baruch Barzani, who is with the Kurdish organization, to share a little bit about how this exhibition came to be and about the organization. So welcome, Baruch.
Thank you, Alyssa. Thank you, everybody. My name is Baruch, and I'm the vice president of KSO. And with me is also Seydan, and she is the president of KSO. We are both the leading board members with many other officers behind us, working with KSO and trying to spread awareness within Mason and the small community we have here. Excuse me, Allison, can I share the presentation? No, thank you. If I may, excuse me. Can everyone see that?
Not yet.
Not yet. Excuse me then. How about now?
Nothing as of yet.
Oh, I'm sorry then.
It's okay.
Give me 1 second. I think I should be sharing my screen. That's the problem. Oh, there we go.
I'm getting the bugs out. Sorry, y'all.
Sorry, I thought I almost had. Okay, there. I got so used to Teams, I forgot.
There we go. Now we see something.
There we go. Apologies. So yes, here we are, the Kurdish Student Organization. And here's a quick look at our board, just to introduce you guys. There's Seydan Omar, our president, I just mentioned, from Dahuk, me, the vice president from Barzan, our wonderful treasurer, Bano, from Silimani, and our friend Gio Cortez, adoptive Kurd currently. We adopted him in Barzan. Lana, an officer of ours, who's from Zaho and Koya. Laura Mirani, who's our event coordinator from Silimani, and Diva, another officer as well, who are all here joining us. So our mission at KSO is just to help spread, promote Kurdish culture, tradition, and language. KSO is dedicated to promoting an inclusive and diverse space for students to explore Kurdish culture and all of its vibrant yet complex aspects. We encourage students from all backgrounds to join our organization and just come hang out with us. So kind of what this exhibit is. Seydan, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I can take it over from here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Seydan Omar. I am the president of KSO. As Badr said, I'm from Duhok. First, I want to get you guys acquainted with what Kurdistan is. Kurdistan is the big and largest ethnic group without a nation for the Kurdish people, and it has its own diverse culture and language that cover areas of the Zagros Mountain, parts of Turkey, Iran, Iraq, and Syria. Kurdish is an Indo-European language and is related to the Persian and Pashto. The Kurds are thought to have originated from the Medes of Median Empire. They are a majority of Sunni Muslims with a minority of Shia, Christian, Jewish, and Yazidi communities. So we're diverse, a very diverse bunch. Next slide, please. So this is just a snapshot of some of our past events we've had. One of our bigger events we had, I think it was around this time last year, was our networking opportunity where we invited students, a part of the KSO, to come to the KRG, which is the Kurdish regional government, sort of a representative of the Kurdish government in America. And we invited them to the KRG to network with other Kurdish professionals and get together and socialize to be more acquainted with within the community and have another community event to get together and socialize for. We also do Nowruz, which is our cultural New Year's. We do a big party for that one. And we always occasionally have kiosks, and we do collaborations with other events on campus, such as the Get Connected Fair and the Yard Fest. So yeah, we take a lot of opportunities to get our club out there and to meet both Kurds and non-Kurds and just spread more awareness and bring people together as a community. We can go on to the next slide. So this is our upcoming events. It's still a bit of work in progress. We're moving to a new leadership, so bear with us until we get things adjusted. We had our book event recently last week where we had our lovely faculty advisor, Holly Mason Badra, read excerpts from her book and just talk with us about her book and the inspiration behind creating it. And as today we are having this opening reception online, we will be having dance workshops this semester. Our next one will be, that's not the right date. It should say September 30th, not September 3rd. We usually give emails out at least a week in advance for our events. So keep up on our emails and also our Instagram to keep up with the events that we have. But yeah, we do dance workshops where we introduce a variety of dances from the different regions of Kurdistan. And we also have language workshops where we mainly focus on the two major dialects of Badini and Sorani. We have both Badini and Sorani speakers who will help us guide through basic conversation starters and basic phrases that you could use and just general terms for everyday Kurdish conversations. And then one of our bigger events that we have this year is Flag Day, which is December 14th. That is the day where we celebrate our Kurdish flag and, a bit of our identity. And we can go on to the next slide. Kimi Ez, who am I? So like we said before, this is the our exhibit that we have open at Mason Arlington campus. Be open from September 5th to October 25th. I am pretty excited for some of the events, especially for that art walk on October 4th. Definitely have to go to that one. We can go to the next one. So yeah, that's our club. We hope to see you guys. I like to make KSO a nice open environment for both Kurdish people who want to get connected to their community and their people, and also for non-Kurds who are interested in learning about culture, interested in joining us. It always makes me more happy whenever we get a variety of people. Whether you're Kurd or non-Kurd, you're welcome to join us to have a little dancing party or, to get together. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Seidon. Wonderful presentation. Just to tell a little snippet as well of how we got this exhibit kind of started is last semester I was talking to our previous board about why not just do, why don't we try to organize like a Kurdish art exhibit as I was walking by the art school here on Mason campus, and I thought, dang, how do I even organize that? I don't even know how to do that. And then my first thought was talking to Nuveen, who I had met finally met in person a few weeks prior at the Kurdish Film Festival in New York City last year. And I thought I'd tell her like, hey, I want to do a Kurdish art exhibit. How do you do that? She's like, well, I happen to have this one right here. So that's sort of the trickle down effect. And then coming to meet Alyssa and everyone else to get introduced in the proposal for it. And here we are today.
Ta-da! We're so happy we are.
Hip hip hooray, yeah.
Hip hip hooray. I went to go run and grab Holly. Oh, I'm my screen's blurred, so you can't. Oh, it's not going to do it. Okay. Oh, there it is. This is Holly's book, Sleeping in the Courtyard. A lovely book of poetry and collections, but she's been really a great collaborator, and I do want to give her flowers on this call. I know she wanted to be here but couldn't. But this will be the book that is shared at the closing event moment. So if you don't have it yet, Sleeping in the Courtyard, wonderful. On the bookshelf at the gallery here. So come check it out. Great. So as a part of Baruch's role today, he's going to help moderate the artist talk here. So we have an order, we have questions and all the fun things to do. Baruch, can you please introduce Hunair? And Hunair, get ready to show your slides.
Baruch, you are muted.
Sorry. I was saying, give me one quick second to pull that up for you guys.
Yeah. I have an issue with my website right now, but I will be sharing the unpublished website. I recently tried to publish it and update it. It just didn't work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Shall I introduce you now?
Go ahead.
Okay. Hunair Emin is a stateless Kurdish multimedia artist based in Bloomington, Indiana, whose work confronts themes of genocide, war, displacement, and human rights abuses. Born in southern Kurdistan in northern Iraq, otherwise known as Pashur, he studied Western classical art in Erbil before earning his MFA in studio art from Marywood University in the US. His art has been exhibited internationally at venues such as the CICA Museum in South Korea, Agora Gallery in New York City, and the Dahug Gallery of Art He has received honors including the Dihan Artist of Distinction Award, DC Art Commission Fellowship, and Foundation for Contemporary Arts grants. Arrested twice during the Arab Spring for his performance piece, Gerok, or Jerok? Gerok, okay. Imin left Iraq in 2013 and has not returned. His works such as Blood Washing, On Honor Killings, 180,000 Seconds, on the Anfal Genocide and Manufactured Democracy, on the Iraq War atrocities, embodies what he calls investigative art, a practice at the intersection of journalism and art, drawing on both Middle Eastern and Western traditions, and then uses calligraphy, symbolism, video, installation, and painting to resist tyranny and illuminate crimes against humanity, blending personal experience with broader political and cultural narratives. And here he is. I pass to you.
Hello, everyone. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the KSO and the curatorial team from George Mason University, Lisa, and Don, everyone. And of course, Holly, the amazing Holly. We involved her in this project from early on, and the minute that I emailed her, she just involved in the project, and we got this project together pretty quickly. So thank you all. And I wanted to answer the question of who am I, and we will go from there. One of the hardest questions for me is when people tell me where I'm from or who am I. When people tell me where are you from, I hesitate to answer where I'm from because I don't like to say where I'm from. I would just respond in I'm a Kurdish. I refer to myself. I'm a stateless person. As Baruch mentioned in the bio, I say I'm a stateless. Of course, of many Kurds living in other part of the world now that we are all separate in the world. We live in different countries. My family is originally from Bakur, which is modern Turkey, and my grandfather moved to Iraq, and it was at the time it was acceptable thing to move from part of Kurdistan to another, and was easily accepted into a new part because it was on one nation. And this is an example of how Kurdish part of other part of Kurdistan are connected. I still have cousins in Bakur, which I have lost connect to, and I hope that I could get connected to them or reunite with them sometime soon. We up until recently we had those connections, but again, to the question of who I am, like I said, I have that struggle with that question. I usually say I'm a Kurd, and I don't say where I am from. Or if I say I'm from Iraq, which is where officially I am, I would say northern Iraq. I wouldn't say Iraq. Or I would say South Kurdistan. So this is a question of place where I would begin to answer that question. I would either answer as an ethnic or as a where I am actually from, or I would say just a city. Like for example, South Kurdistan or North Iraq, and something like that. So I usually have to, just like as this poem that we wanted to reference in this work, that when we try to introduce ourselves, we usually have to give a whole definition of what is Kurd, where we are, and who we are. So we have That's why this poem is symbolic to Kurdish experience, where in this poem it covers where we are and the history of Kurds, and also to the atrocities that the Kurds went through, and uh, all the characters that it referenced in the poem, and also um, the Kurdish struggle in general. To speak about this project that I participated in this, do we go from there, Elisa and Baruch, or?
Yeah, I think it'd be great to talk about the work you have in the show and how that responds.
All right, thanks. I'll start with my latest project, which is still in progress, and thanks for the Criterial group to having this show, this piece in the show, which is called "Testimonies from Mount Sinjar." In 2014, as some of you would know, there was an attack on Yazidi Kurdish community in South Kurdistan, close to my hometown in Sinjar. At the time, I was a year in United States and in my MFA program. It was a shock and a total genocide that we had to go through or experience, and all the images that I could see were making me suffer, but I wanted to have that experience where the image is impactful, but also not as permanent. It's ephemeral. I was get impacted by it, then I will try to forget about it, and that was an active practice for me to see all of these images of these atrocities that ISIS members are conflicting on a Yazidi community. And I didn't want to go through that image of like this that experience where social media or the news that has effect on us. I wanted to go deeper on that and experience the victims' experience as well, and bring that into the audience. So from there, I began collecting stories or stories that were being collected at the time between 2015 and 16 and up until 17 by a historian named Khatari, who is also Yazidi. And there are so many variants on this issue, because the victims felt left out. Most of the world had left them, or the journalists would go to them, and they would be expecting some help, psychological or whatever help, medical also. But eventually the journalists would leave and the victims were left out. And so they felt closer to Khatari, and Khatari would write them in these testimonies, and would write them in Arabic because of his academic upbringing. He's Kurdish Yazidi, or Yazidi as we call, but he felt compelled to write in Arabic, and he provided these testimonies to me. And this is also another and many layers of colonialism that is conflicted in Kurds, where we have to write in our occupiers' language to express ourselves or write our own history. And so in this project, I am trying to actually kind of revert that and bring those testimonies back to Kurdish. And in the process, am borrowing a writing style that is being resurrected by my professor from Salahuddin University named Namo Rostanzadeh, who is from Rojhelat. Namo has worked on this writing style for over 20 years, and he provided me with this writing style. And the reason why I use this writing style is that because of the division of many countries that Kurd live, we are forced to write in different writing style. For example, Kurds from Bakur would write in Latin alphabets, and Kurd from Bashur and Rojhelat would write in Arabic alphabet. And so what Namu wanted to do is to unify these both areas so that we could understand each other better and have a distinguished writing style from those nations that are surround us. It's an ambitious project, and I wanted to use that method in this project as telling our stories of atrocities, but also bringing in an identity into it. And in this show, I'm only showing the video in English. I would like to share my screen if that's okay. And I will show the form of the video that I have. First, maybe in Kurdish, I have one screen writing that is in that form of what Namu had invented, and it goes like this. This is my handwriting, and I am just trying to use it again, and it's in the process. Like you can tell. I will talk about more detail here, but you can see that there is a little bit in Arabic in it, and that is because I didn't want to change the language of the ISIS member when they speak. If they speak, I kept it in Arabic, and the rest in Kurdish. And also there are technical words that I couldn't change them or translate them, like fading in or internal and so on. If I go to the English version, there are more detail, and eventually this is just like a mock-up, and eventually I wanted to transfer that into the or have it the same time, or have it played at the same time. If we looked at it here, for example, I wanted to keep the image. So when I wanted to, instead of using the image, like I said, I wanted to keep the words, and with the words, I'm creating this image that the victims went through. At first, you will find a place and the date or the time. Then, if I have a full name of the victim, I try to give them just one letter, so to give it anonymity to the story. And if if I have a one name, then I give it or if I have only one name, then I would just say the gender and so on, and the age. Then if, for example, here I have the full name of the victim, and I just give them a letter for the name. For example, if this is the name Shuan or Shivan, I would just write S or so on. So to keep their identity hidden, as it was requested from me. Then so the audience would read this and then create the image in their head. And then there is sometimes a dialogue that's happening. And like I said, the dialogue would come out, and if it is in the Kurdish version, if it is in Arabic, I keep it in Arabic. But in this case, it's a 15-year-old boy and a 25 injured person. Both are speaking in Kurdish. There are many images that being recited in here. So, for example, in here, it says where it was the incident, and it seems like a screenwriting. So this is a talk where the ISIS member say it's not your turn, and then the shot pans out to the victim, or to reveal that there are two of them, and one of them was strapped into the window, or like and so on. So there are many cases, and I read the testimonies, and I transfer them into these small screens. I think this is all about this project that I wanted to share. And then other project, I don't know how much time do I have, Alisa?
You have 2 minutes.
Oh my God. The other project that I participated in was called Testimonies from, or it's called Manufactured Democracy. And like you see here, is my screen shared yet? Still?
Yes.
Yes. In this project, I was an art handler, truck driver, living in DC area at the time, and I didn't have much. This is between 2019 and 2020, and when you are truck driving and art handling, you couldn't do much but listening to the book. So the book that I was listening at the time was called Manufacturing Consent by Noam Chomsky. And also I listened to a Kurdish poem who was reciting a story of a 10 years old in Kirkuk, who was kidnapped and was asked for ransom. Then his father, when the father gave the ransom, he discovered his son beheaded in front of his door right after giving the ransom. And so from that story, I thought, how many stories are like that after the Iraq invasion? And are there any credited accounting of these individuals who lost their lives? So I went into the rabbit hole, and an organization gave me a list of 13,000 names of the Iraqi individual. Most of them are Arabic names. Also, in this project, I keep the names that are Arabic, and also I try to be respectful of the individuals. If we can close on the screen, and this is a video. This is a video, screenshot of the video. If you get closer to the screen, you will find that many of these individuals are just one name or a description, such as a woman in green dress or so on. And so I couldn't use that, but I wanted to give it some kind of like the magnitude of the event of Iraq War. And also there is a lot that gets lost in translation when you change the name from Arabic to English alphabets. And so you lose that context. Or I have a list of the names that we couldn't be translated. And there is also, because this was written by Arabic speakers, the many Kurdish names that are in it were changed, or the phonetic were changed, because there are letters in Arabic and Kurdish that they are not existed. Because I speak both languages, I could identify, and so when I translated these names from this form of English that I received from that organization into the original speaking, I kept the Arabic names in Arabic form and kept the Kurdish in Kurdish form, and so on. Thank you. I went over my time. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. Thank you. I know everyone is really excited to know your and meet your work.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Yes. Baruch, we have Pedram next. And while you get ready for that, let folks know that we will, and everyone will hopefully have questions and comments and reactions and congratulations. We will do that after all of the artists share their work. You can ask them all your questions together. Okay.
Great. Thank you, Alyssa. Pedram Badari is born in Sina in Rojava. He is an interdisciplinary artist, scholar, and architect based in the Detroit metro area. His practice spans installation, performance, site-specific projects, social practice, and sculpture. And his work has been exhibited internationally at institutions, including the Victoria and Albert Museum, Art Basel, Walker Art Center, and Berlin Contemporary. Is a recipient of numerous fellowships and awards, such as the National Endowment for the Arts Fellowship of MacDowell and the BBA International Artist Prize. Pedram has also participated in residencies across Europe, Asia, the Middle East, and the US. He has taught at several universities and is currently an assistant professor of art and design at the University of Michigan. His recent projects focus on collaborative, site-specific work, including the land art piece, The Heart of a Mountain, and Arvan, Kurdistan. I think I got that one right. Sorry if I did. So I pass the floor to you, Pedram.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having us and giving us the opportunity to speak with your community and the larger community who have joined us from different states or perhaps different time zones or regions. Can you hear me well? Is my voice clear? Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Loud and clear and beautiful.
Great. Thanks. And I think this is a great event that you all have hosted and facilitated. I want to thank you all, everyone who has been involved, from the curatorial team and the Kurdish student organizations, the collaborators, Ollie, whoever intervened and have created this opportunity. It is wonderful to also speak to Kurdish audience and Kurdish friends, the friends of the Kurds, maybe that's a better word. The questions. I mean, it's so hard to speak after the unravel, the kind of the what Hanar talked about his work. It just, my heart was. I felt like it was squeezed, and I feel like I'm lacking words to come up with formulate my thoughts. But in regards to what were the questions? I'm sorry. Can we?
Well, we like I said, we'll have general questions and other questions about everyone's content.
Okay.
But generally, if we ask the artists to respond to "Who am I?" And general, and then you can talk about the works that you have in the show.
Yeah, so
I'll pull up the website now, so you can choose whichever one of the works you would like to talk about, and I'll toggle through them too.
it's great. So who am I? I mean, I'm obviously. Oh, thanks. That's amazing. Uh, so I'm from Kurdistan, and I was born and raised in Sina. Who am I is a difficult question because I believe in the intersection of identities, and sort of defining who exactly I am is beyond. It depends on the context, I think, as much as um, I'm an artist. I'm Kurdish. I'm a thinker. I'm a maker. I believe in the power of making as a meaning, as a form of crafting meaning, creating meaning, and that comes before even generating knowledge. And I am a storyteller, um, and I hope that the stories I tell finds its audience, or finds homes in people's hearts and minds. And I think, and another thing that I am is I dream, and I'm dreaming of a free Kurdistan. Um, so free from our oppressors, free from our colonizers, um, and a Kurdistan for the Kurdistani people, whoever they are, because we are also a diverse group of people. So, um, so the works that you see here in the museum, I uh, in the gallery, I have kind of my work started to become much more um, as I progressed through my career, a little bit more based on long-term projects. It's it happens in and out of the studio, meaning it always does not happen through the sort of the negotiation with the material in a studio in an isolation. It's always dependent on some other elements that um, are affecting the work itself, and those are basically interaction with other human beings, with collaborators, with communities, and sometimes participants. And so it's always broadening. I'm thinking about broadening the horizon of what art can be, and what art could do. So in this work that you see here, I kind of had this idea of bringing a land art project into in Horaman. Horaman Takhti is this basically city or village, if you want to call it, which has a very, very long history of Kurdish civilization through and through. It's one of the most I think unique uh, cultural hub in Kurdistan, not just because of the unique culture of the Horami people, but their kind of influence on my hometown, Sana'a. And sort of our dialect, which is a combination of Sorani and Horami, and sort of also the place where I visited many times during the war, and as a kid, as a toddler, and we kind of because of the unique landscape it has, and its proximity. I spend a lot of time in Horaman, different villages of Horaman, from Palangan to Horaman Takht and other parts of Kurdistan. So I decided to create a land art project utilizing traditional mirror works. And these type of mirror works are used in the Middle East for a long period of time. I don't want to get into what they represent and its origin for too long, but it's a form of act of generating beauty out of something broken. So when the mirrors initially came through the trade with Europeans, and a big part of it happened actually during the Salahuddin era, it's called Saracenic Italian exchange or cultural exchange, but the bringing of glasses and mirrors from Europe to the Middle East, it wasn't always successful. They didn't always arrive as slabs. They came broken. And in the Middle East, they found a way to utilize this kind of broken pieces of glasses and turn them into same geometry that has been used in the Middle East for a long time to create, basically adorn spaces of high value, shrines and mosques and palaces. So in this case, for me, I thought about the Kurdistan mountains as our shrine, as the place where the life flows down into our valleys and into our flatlands. Basically, it's the place where without there would be no civilization in the entire Mesopotamia, because if you look at all our rivers, all the water bodies, the freshwater bodies, they originate mostly from Kurdistan mountains. So I kind of thought about this project as a larger conversation with both history, the landscape, and also the people of Kurdistan, and took a long time for me to make the mirrors, and in cases have them travel back to Kurdistan by suitcases. People would go back. They'll be like, "Can you take some of these mirrors with you?" And then eventually finding a collaborator, Hamid Nikha, who lives in Mariwan in Roshalat, Kurdistan, to help facilitate this work. Also found a videographer and also a musician, both from this region, to help document the work. And then also we engaged with the community, the Kurdish community here, and my goal was to create an artwork that I would create for any museum, world grade museum, but for the people, and at the end donated to the people of Horaman Takhts, and that's what happened. And so I created this piece. It's 4 feet by 16 feet, if I'm not wrong. It's on my website. I don't remember exactly, but it's a large mirror work piece, 5 by 16, and it's 7,000 feet altitude, and it's a very difficult kind of terrain and terrain to work with, and they were virtually with kind of no equipment. So it was very difficult to kind of create these, have people help us, but the people of the city, the people decided to really steward the work. These pieces were there for days in and out, nothing happened. It was, people really worked with us. And that's why I am really, I feel like this was a collective work. It talks about a collective story, and we installed it on the ancient part of the village, which is kind of very old, and it's crafted from the same stones that comes from the mountains. So it's one of those regions that if you think about sustainability, if you think about symbiotic relationship with the nature, if you think about the people who really can showcase the authenticity of the Kurdish life in a lot of ways. You point at this one of those places that you can point at is this, and also the very unique landscape and unique urban design, where the neighbors, basically your neighbor's roof is your yard. So you rely on one another to live, to even hold a roof over your head. And a lot of parts of this project kind of is communication with what's there. And for me, it's a window to the mountains of Kurdistan to see themselves, and also to the idea of Kurdishness, while fractioned and fragmented, but also unique and united in a way. There is this element of this kind of philosophy of uniqueness through a kind of fragmented, like basically it views the universe or us within it as fragmentations of the same universe, and a kind of or the same thing, and that's, I see, one of the modalities of Kurdishness. Yeah, so that's one project, and I hope people could see it. And then the next one is again another mirror work project, and for this one I really started with an idea of growing up in a country that my language, identity, or songs, a lot of the things that points at Kurdishness were criminalized and securitized. We were people behind our walls in our private one. We would talk about certain things, and then in public we had to abide by the rules of our occupiers. I remember being beaten in school for speaking Kurdish. So a language that was criminalized, and a language and a history that is obscured and erased. And that's one part of it, and the other part is the resistance and the ways in which we have persevered and continued, and so this work is mostly based on that. We have even created a form of botany, understanding of flowers and natural elements around us in a symbolic way. So, for example, the Schler flower, or crown imperial, it's basically an upside down. It looks like an upside down tulip. We believe it grows from the blood of the martyrs, Kurdish martyrs, the innocent bloods of the Kurdish people. And if you look at how we have created this kind of our land, even through the image of perseverance, resistance, even what grows from the ground, from the earth, has many symbolic meanings. You could see it in our rug making, in even the Kurdish tattoo making. Is just, this shows how connected we are to the land, but also how creative Kurds are in telling their stories. And another part of this has been when I was a kid, having a cassette of some Kurdish songs, revolutionary songs, could cost you your life. Like literally, if they would catch you with a cassette that had like Nasser Razazi, Shuan Parwar, Kina song, or a lot of these Kurdish songs, they would take you away. And we would, I remember we would record these songs with old kind of players. One, like we would, in basements, we would play one of them, and with the other one record what's it just like the quality of these songs would slowly decrease until it was just noise. And also another part of it that I paid attention to is Kurdish lullabies. Mothers in Kurdistan, they utilize lullabies for two things in two occasions. And one is to put their kids, babies to sleep, but also if their young, is killed by the occupiers, they also sing it over their graves. It's a intergenerational form of passing down the understanding of what has happened to the Kurds. It happens in the privacy of our homes, but also it happens from a mother to her child. And I kind of asked a lot of Kurdish moms across different parts of Kurdistan. Actually, one of them is Sahar's mom, to record their favorite lullabies and send it to me. So they're in different dialects, Kurdish dialects, and kind of organize them in a way to be played through this stylization of golaşlir, or the smear work. And so each piece is behind the wall. It's kind of on the other side of the wall. So the design is kind of I know it's always a trouble for the galleries. I remember kind of the gallery had to facilitate
Drill a
this
hole in their
special,
wall behind the piece. Yes.
right?
We do need to wrap up your segment here, Pedro, though.
Thank you.
Yes.
So, and the other one is playing basically criminalized Kurdish songs. And it's kind of a sonic archive in this space. Sorry, I once you talk, you lose time. My
There's so
apologies.
many layers, I know, and I want to leave time for folks to be able to ask questions, and I know I already have some too. So everyone
Appreciate it.
write your questions down that I'll ask all of ours collectively. Thank you, Pedro. Fantastic. Up next, we're going to hear from Sahar Baruch. Can you introduce Sahar, please?
I just caught myself muted again. That's strike two. Hopefully I don't get three. Thank you, Pedro. That was great to hear. Now it's Sahar's turn. Sahar Tarhigi? Excuse me.
You got
sorry.
it.
Oh, I got
All
it?
good.
Oh, lovely. She is born in Shino. Rojalat is an interdisciplinary artist whose work spans ceramics, sculpture, video, installation, and social practice. holding degrees in visual arts, crafts, painting, and an MFA in studio art. From the University of Delaware, she draws on Kurdish myths, traditional crafts, and cultural narratives to address themes of displacement, ethnic cleansing, and resilience, particularly focusing on the experiences of Kurdish women, guided by the Kurdish motto, "Bechwarajan?" Bechwarajan?
Barkhudan Jian.
Bechwarajan Jian. Okay. Oh, sorry, maybe my botany is bad.
Oh,
Her
all
art
good.
blends her art blends personal journey with collective memory, creating space for cultural survival and expression. Her work has been showcased in exhibitions worldwide, and she is currently a post-MFA scholar at Ohio State University. Sahad, I lead to you. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Hello, everyone. I'm still trying to digest and process what I've been hearing from both Huner and Pedram. Thank you all. It was amazing. Thank you to everyone, like Pedram and Huner said, to the curatorial team, just like to keep it shortened. So I'm just saying thank you to all of you, whoever has tried to bring this show and program into reality. So if you will allow me, I would like to share my screen. Is it okay? Okay. Oops. Okay, all good. Can you see my screen?
There we go. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So my name is Sahar Shna, my Kurdish name Tariqi. I'm from Shno. This is my hometown. I just wanted to give you the sense where I am from. It's a mountainous region, like kind of like almost 4 parts of Kurdistan. I have one piece included in the show called Shamaran, which technically it's Kurdish mythology. It's a widespread myth across all Kurdistan, and it can be pronounced as Shamaran, Shaymaran, or Shahimaran. So probably like going forward and explaining the concept of Shamaran and its story, it's going to kind of like cover the question of who am I, Kinam. So she's half snake, half woman. You can see its original version of the very first found of painted in the background right now. So technically she's 2D. So she embodies knowledge and healing. She knows about the underground, both about the ground. She's a symbol of resistance. My very first encounter to Shamaran was once I was playing with one of my friends in our neighborhood. Went to their place. So Shamaran, like literally like that one, it was a painting being hung on the wall. So back then I didn't have any idea what does that figure mean, but like her existence, her presence from my childhood stick to me until like later on I came to understand its meaning, its story, how it's associated with our culture as a Kurdish people. So just like a shortened version, like just telling what does like what's its story about. So this is one of the embroidered version of it, like token. The photo is like by Ibrahim Saoudi. This embroidered version was found in Rojhalat, and it's like more than 30 years ago. So Shamaran has different variation of like because you know Kurdish culture is technically oral tradition, so it circulate across all parts of Kurdistan. So, but each of them like affirming his like her central role in collective memory. In the most well-known one, a young man called Hamas or Jamas, like got trapped into cave harvesting the honey, and how it's like the story is connected to both the nature of Kurdistan, like both under the ground and above the ground. It was really fascinating for me. So he was harvesting and got trapped into the cave, found himself being surrounded by shamar and like being surrounded by thousands of snakes. And like they fell in love, and she teaches him the secrets of plants, medicine, and like the rhythm of life. But like he eventually returned back to the surface, to the about the ground, and promised that he's going to keep his her secret. But years later, the king of the region falls ill, and the vizier forces Thomas to reveal her whereabouts and location. So finally, Shamaran was captured and brings to the palace. So she instructs three men being involved in her life. So how like this story is like kind of like connected to that monarchy and patriarchy systems. Again, that's fascinating, passing down that information and story generation by generation. Again, like it's all about the richness of these myths. She is telling them that my for example, like telling them that divide my body, her will bring her body healer, tell wisdom. But eventually it turns out that she resisted, she subverts their plan, bringing death to corrupt vizier, healing to king, and her wisdom to Jamas. So this like oral tradition and history like find its way to our textile, embroidered version, painting. So predominantly 2D. So her story like dates back to Neolithic period, and again like belong to matriarchal cosmologies. And how like she exists before Zoroastrianism. So it's all about the femininity, and like something else that is really important is like her duality, like venom and cure, death and regeneration, and then concealment and revelation. So in my studio practice, I was like hoping to find a way in order to I'm technically a tangible person. I would love to see everything in 3D way. So I try to, so if this is a 2D version, I try to pull it out of the middle of the fabric, which is like technically to cover the bedroom, the beds, and then a symbol of protection, healing. So I was like trying to keep that fabric and then pull it out of the fabric, and then started thinking about the concept of like Shamar and how she used to live peacefully under the ground. Like my main medium is clay and ceramic, so I started building it up out of ceramic. This is a little bit like a more detailed one. So if you take a look at the like original version, she got two kind of like braids uh, around her shoulder. And then I was thinking about like braiding and how it's connected to femininity, sisterhood, caring, and connection and bonding. And then like at the same time thinking about that epistemology of um, our nature and our land, and how that feminine creature is connected to the land, and then those snakes, and then envisioning the braid as snakes as well. So those kind of like foam braided version that can be regarded as either snakes or braids, kind of like hanging from the ceiling. And then I pushed the what is it called, the materiality of clay, try to find its capacity. So I started fabric casting. So the braid technically is braided by fabric. So the fabric will burn away once you will fire them. So I was again thinking about like how she sacrificed her lives and how like the next generation, and that's like struggle, that it's a long-term struggle for Kurdish question, that how like somebody sacrificed their lives and whatever that it's going to like after firing is going to be that absence, and at the same time presence of like trace of leaving that clay after firing. It was something that I was trying to respond to that question in my studio practice. And then the fabric is being painted by clay. This is just a photo of ongoing process just to give the sense. And then I used some motifs which is found again like for a while in our Kurdish textile in Howri. So again, like in my studio practice, I was trying to think about like how it's like an integral part of Kurdish women's style, braids being kind of like explained around their shoulders. And then like you would see here some motifs of hawris in Kurdish hairstyle, and try to incorporate these elements into my studio practice, and how again it's about bonding and caring. And now if time allows me, I'm going to briefly play. Yeah, she's my mom, Asmar, and how like she used to braid my hair, and now like our granddaughter is braiding her hair. So that intergenerational again intimate moment is something that I really love, found it fascinating about that braiding culture. It's almost everywhere, but I'm just like trying to show like whatever that I'm thinking about in my study practice, and now how it's found its way to Kurdish women liberation in Rojava in particular, chanting Janjiyan Azadi. And then something else like about braiding, the very first time that I was told by my mom that there is one personal history about it, that braid cutting can be regarded as a mourning culture, but it's not that much common. The only personal connection was like my mom telling me once she used to be so young, one of her friends older than her told her that like one of the respected person in their village, Singan Shno, passed away, and let's cut our braids to show that like that we respect that person by our body. So it was just the only time that I heard. And after that, like again, once I started focusing more, I found a documented version of it, Zare, a silent film by Hamo Baknazarian, an Armenian director, which is technically, if you take a look at the timing, the year, it's like said 1926, so almost 99 years ago. So this is Zare, like even, I'm not sure if it's visible or not, you see the hairstyle of this character, and even like jewelry sounds fascinating, that can be so interesting for like just searching. And then this is that moment that Zare's excuse me, the main one of the character was killed because of World War I that they were asked to fight. So again, like these Kurdish, Azadi Kurdish people living in close to that Ararat region. Even like just something that I found like overlapping with the concept of Shamaran, how Zara and her lover, and then the person who got sacrificed for the sake of, again, that hierarchy system, it's kind of like overlapping to my like Shamaran research, like even like just this is a century ago. So there is one part of like the documentary that Zara's brother was killed and her wife, some, if I'm not wrong. So she started mourning. I will let you watch that. Yeah, so again, like there is some multi-layered purpose of braiding and cutting in my studio practice. And then just like briefly talking about that I incorporated in Shamaran's body. Like again, there is one feminine layer of femininity layer of these practice among Kurds, in particular Izadi Kurds. How like the person who is like using dak, like actually mixing, what is it called, ashes and like milk from the breast of a woman, actually milking and breasting, excuse me, breasting a girl. So that milk has to be from a mom that milking, like breasting a girl. So that one is like, I was reading about it, that like how having that milk is going to heal the wound out of the tattoo, and how again it's connected about the like Kurdish history, and how like the positionality of like Kurdish women is going to be healing through the history of like story of Shamaran, Dek, and all of them are kind of like connected. So this is Shamaran and me with tattoo on it. So this is that braids braiding practice part of that Shamaran, which so far it's a kind of like social practice going to differences. Just briefly talking about it, that this is the braids that, as I said, the fabric is going to burn away, and the trace is going to kind of like that absence, that kind of like absence, and then surfacing to the existence is like juxtaposition of my studio practice through that materiality of ceramic, and then like being installed in different galleries and locations so far. And I have done this braiding workshop in 3 places so far: NCCA 2023, how it's going to circulate around the concept of that Kurdish braiding, and like how it's going to show that solidarity connection to the femininity, to the body, and then to the land through ceramics. And just like final shots of Berman Museum workshop, and then very last one, fragmented recaptured, our show that was co-curated by amazing artist Pedram Baldari and me just recently in Urban Art Space, and Huner and the rest of artists, Shana, Noveen, Youssef were part of it, and Khaje actually, for the very first time, including all artists from 4 parts of Kurdistan in North America. And this That's it. And then at the end, I wanted to make art that told a story that would engage people. I wanted them to be moved by my work, whether it was specifically what my intentions were or not, didn't matter. I wanted them to be drawn in and affected by my sculpture by Alison Sarr. And you can find me here. Galaxpas Dasrosh. I'm hoping that I didn't go beyond the timing. I will
You
stop
did, but it was
sharing.
totally worth it.
Okay. I'm sorry. Or how can
No,
I stop
that's
it? Oh, stop. Okay, there we
no,
go.
wonderful. Thank you for the context and sharing and all of that. I recently just met Alison Sarr and like heard from her about her work too, and I definitely see like alignment of intention between you two. So I appreciate the quote at the end as well.
Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Yes, thank you. Okay. Up next, we're going to hear from Saner Osman, and he will be translated by Hunair. So we'll have some back and forth. So Hunair, come back, and we can begin.
Right
Thank
here.
you so much. Yes, fantastic. And then again, Hunair, I want to, the prompt that we gave all the respond to is, who am I? So you can let Saner know that.
Saner, as it would tercüme ensam to geçti and vision.
Can you open my website because I don't access right now?
Yes,
my name
yes.
and surname and .com. Yeah,
yes,
please.
Isabel will share her screen for the prompts.
Thank you very much. Can you open the object? The menu object, yeah, objects. Left one, object, yes. Down, please. Down, and open the Shahmaran. Yeah. No.
That
yes,
one,
this one.
he wants.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, thank you very much. As a hevok bebejim boku huner karibe vergerine.
He's going to speak in sentences so I can be able to translate. Is my voice clear?
Yes.
از گلکی کیف خوشم به بونه به هلکفتا و پیشنگه سپاس yeah please.
He's very happy for this exhibition and thank you.
چیروکک هیه de mecveye de heşeminde az zlamek de sala 1954 de diçe tokuyor.
He would like to narrate a story in his mind or just remember, and he said that there was a man who went to Tokyo in 1854.
1954, yeah.
1954.
Yes. Gava pasaporta xwe dide security navê welatekî di pasaportê de lê ev welat nîne.
He gives his passport to the security, and in his passport, it was a name of the country that was not existed. It was
security vizilami digre dike odeyekê û gazî hinek securityên din dike dibêje welatekî wisa nîne.
They captured him or detained him in a room and called other securities to investigate, but they said that this country does not exist.
Zilam dibêje ez welatê min di navbera İspanya û Fransayê de navê wê jî Tauret.
The man says that the country is between Spain and France, and the name of the country is Tauret. I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Lê kolînekê dikin nexşetînin datînin ber wî dibêje ka nîşa me bike lê çi welatekî wisa nîne di nexşeyê de.
They investigate and they brought a map in front of him and telling him that that country does not exist on the map.
زلام عجب ما يدمنه دبجة أز تورط التم اف هزار صالة أولات هي چاوا هون نکارم ببینن و برخود دکو جوان را ببیجه که ولاته که وصا هي لسر دنیای.
The man was, when they told him that the country doesn't exist, the man is it's estranged by that statement, and he said, I have been living there, or we have been living there for thousands of years. And he put it upon himself to prove it to them that the country does exist.
ناوی خوشید بیجه ناوی وی ده پاسپورت ده هیه ده بیجه ناوی من جان آرتن کوشر زگروسه.
He says this is my name in the
John Arten Kucher Zegrus.
Kucher Zagrus. Zagrus, yes. Is it from the Zagros mountain?
I don't know. Bele gelek garip te jbo security u degrin. Le internet eftişten mistik tişten ku denava zaman da deme de reviti etkin وەک ئینتەرستێلر دەبێژن وەلاتێکی وسانینە ئەژی دوێ باوەریە دەمەک و حەچک و ئەو زلام ئەزم ئەز نزانم ینی تو وەلاتێکی من نین.
I forgot the beginning because it was really good. Shinner feels like that he is, or Senner feels like he is that man who feels that there is no country for him, but he has to prove it to him, to the other that his country exists. Is that okay?
Ev çîrok gelekî popüler e di nav bûyerên mîstîk de li Amerîkayê. Bêhtir jî di çanda popüler de.
This story it's popular in the theater. Is it mystic?
Yes, mystical. Yeah.
Oh,
like
mystical. It's a mystical.
Like a UFO or.
It's a mystical story. It's popular in the mystical stories. Yes.
Nahal berve seherji qala vekir qala şahmaran ekir. Min jî li vir tarixa wê jî 2015 de piştî şerê di navbera Daişê û jinên Kurd de pêşmergeyên Kurd de xortên Kurd de min rabû sîniyek çêkir. Ev sînî li Mêrdînê tiştekî traditional e.
Sahar mentioned in her work of this motif, and he brought this Center worked on this project in 2015 after the ISIS war. This motif is engraved in a dish that is it's a common tradition and a kind of folklore work in Mardin area. Mardin area is a city in North Kurdistan in Turkey, or modern Turkey. Yeah.
Hûn dibînin simbêlê şahmaranê heye.
As you can see, there is mustaches for Shamaran in this motif.
û di xelekê de circle gule hene. Guleyên Kalashnikova.
There are bullet guns for AK-17. Is that the correct term for the gun? These are bullets around it in the shape of circle.
Belki hûn nabînin li pişt min du wêneyên du resmên ku min çêkiriye heye.
Oh, behind it you cannot see it, but there are pictures that I've created behind the plate or behind the dish.
Here. Yek ji wan Qazi Muhammed'e Edinci Mele Mustafa'ya.
Behind it, there are pictures of Kurdish characters or Kurdish leaders, Qazi Muhammad and Mullah Mustafa Barzani.
وك سورين قرآني ياسيني قاوا أول بهبل مالامن أشكو أز أولما أشكو كس في نكهر بإيرش من بكا أز دكفن بهستي.
He feels like this is a religion for him, and that if this is in his house, that nobody will dare get into his house.
لوما قاوا إيرو أز قالا هنرا خبكم أز يكسر ببجنكو إيروني siyaset, politika, politics و تراوما ev her se tişt, her se xelek hünera min dağafirînin.
Today, when he talks about his art, Senar talks about three concepts that create his work, which is irony, politics, and what was the third one, Senar?
Trauma.
Irony, trauma.
Yeah, trauma.
Yeah, trauma.
Yes. Ev her se xelek haya niha haya îro jî hestên min ên ku huner afirandina hunerê gelekî zexm dikin. Lê min bixwe êdî piştî genocida êzidiya min bixwe bawerî êdî li dinyayê nîne. Min bixwe bawerî êdî hunerê nîne. Min bixwe bawerî êdî edebiyatê nîne ku ev tişt hemû karibin di sed sala bîst û yekemîn de gelekî ku bi milyonan tê jimartin û bê dewlete karibin xilas bikin.
These three concepts of these three elements of irony and trauma and politics makes him to create the art and or makes him create the art. But after the ISIS atrocities and the genocide against the Yazidi communities, he has lost trust in art or in this kind of a form of expression to free ourselves from atrocities that are happening to us.
Ez 2017 de hatibûm Amerîkayê. New Jerseyê bi piştgiriya Elizabeth Foundation of Art and Artist Risk Connection û salekê li Amerîkayê jiyam.
He for the first time visited United States in 2017 through Elizabeth Foundation of Art, and it was a residency.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And Artist Risk Connection.
Artist Risk Connections.
Yes. Gava pirs dikirin riskate çi ye? Tu çi mal virî?
When they asked, what is your risk, why you are here?
Min jî bersiv dida welatekî min nîne.
His answer was that I don't have a country.
Niha em ê bên ser şivanperwer û kîne em.
Now he's talking. He would like to talk about Shivan Parvar and the epic song Kina Am, or who are we?
Huner û pedram qala vê yekê kirin û pedram qala qeseta kir.
Huner and Pedram talked about this, and Pedram talked about the story about cassettes, record cassettes.
Gava min hunera ciwan yani di zanîngehê de min dixwend sala yekan li Edeneyê bajarekê Tirka Art History and Painting Department. Vê çaxê bi tirsa polîsa me li ser qaseta İbrahim Tatlıses çend stranên şivanperwer me qeyd dikir. Ger polîs bê êriş bike, pel teybe bike ve İbrahim Tatlıses derkeve. Ne şivanperver.
What year was this? Chisalbo?
1987.
In the year 1987, he went to college in Adana, which is
Yeah, University of Çukurova, or painting department. Yeah.
painting department.
Yes.
And at the time, he used one of the popular Turkish popular, originally Kurdish, I
Yes.
should say, a singer named Ibrahim Tatlıses. He used his cassette to over-record Şivanperver's song on it. Şivanperver is a symbol of Kurdish resistance, and he would record those on these cassettes. When the police would come and capture him, he would only play the part that was Ibrahim Tatlıses's, and when they would go, he would play the part that is Şivanperver.
O
And the police-
tırsamınamazın polis hatın.
His biggest fear was that police were going to get him.
Nivşeveki peli teybekirin. Meşina ku kaseta
Yeah.
çıktı.
In the middle of the night, they came and they crushed under their feet the recorder or the record player.
O yekser klama kine em derken.
And then after that, the song Kinaam, or which is referenced in our exhibition, was playing at the time when they crushed under their feet. That song played.
Biz tu hav roşt ez şikence edemem. Sebebeki.
He was imprisoned for 27 years and
Roş. Days.
27 days, not years. Sorry, 27 days, and he was tortured, under torture. 27 days.
Ez bawer nakim heta ve rojê em çawa hatin. Em çawa hîna hunerê çêtkin. Em çawa dikarin bipeyvin. Ez bi xwe bawer nakim.
He cannot believe that until these days, how are we experiencing ourselves? How are we making art to this day? And how he survived all of this.
Jiber ku bi min biya min hemî jiyana hunermendên Kurd berxwedaneke mezin e.
In his opinion, that the life of Kurdish artists is a big resistance.
û ev ji bo min tiştekî gelekî pîroz e.
And this is a noble thing for him.
Biborin, min tenê yek îmaç, yek wêne şanî ve da, wêneya şahmaran.
I'm sorry that I only showed you one image of, and that is then the image of Shamiran.
Lê ez bawer dikim ew wêne her tiştî ji bo min dibêje.
I believe that this picture or this image say everything for me.
Spazlık.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I know so many hearts and claps and all the things. Thank you for sharing your stories and deepening our understanding of Shamaran.
Center.
Thank you. I do have 2 minutes on the timer. I didn't want Isabel, if you can show the current works that are in the show. And Hunair, you can help me ask Saner if he wants to explain further about Super Muslim and the flag.
Saner, Alisa has digetin بسیار بگد درباره ویکاری هنری سوپر مسلم.
بله. اتخوازم ببیجم 2003 ande piştî êrîşa جوت آواهی نیویورک من اف کار چیکر.
That's a good, because this is the date remembrance. After the September 11, he created this work.
از geleki خمگین بوم جبرکو yani geleki دوری آمریکای بوم لی از دیزا خمگین بوم پر خمگین بوم.
But despite that, he was far from America. He was upset and about it, and he was heartfelt or disturbed by it.
باوریا من ده سوپرمان جی کریپتونه جی گرسترک planet کریپتونه هاتبو و دخواست دنیای رزگار بکه بهتر جی آمریکایی.
In his opinion, or he believed that the Superman came from Krypton. It's a planet. He came from there to save America. Is that what it is?
Yes. لیکس باور نتر که روژه که وی او پلرین اخواه او قماش اخواه درخی وی سر نویج بکه.
Then nobody would expect that he would pull his cape and put it down and make it like a praying rugs underneath him.
Evet duve ve neydi ezim. Min ev kostunu khwakir.
That image or the performance or the person was in this image, it's me. That's what I did.
Ligeleki deverin dünyayı hat de peşenganda cihkirt. Yani bu mitoloji ev kar.
This became a mythology and it exhibited all over the world.
Telaviye bigre hatta New York'a bigre hatta Amsterdam'e, Rusya'ya gelek geriye.
It's exhibited in New York, in Russia, in Amsterdam, all over the world.
Tene le Kosova'ya de peşengeheke de profesöreki Türk gava ev kare medit be gotin erişimin kir.
Only one time in Kosovo, in an exhibition, there was a Turkish professor verbally assaulted him because of this project.
Got te erişi İslamiyete u Türkatki.
He told him that the professor told him that Sener is attacking or criticizing Islam and Turkish state or yeah.
Ay jiber ku bere bu şey bubun hünermend evjili piştminin.
Senator, I couldn't hear you. Could you please repeat it?
Hünermendin Kosova'yı nifşemin my generation in Kosova'yı evjil pişminin pırs min kiren ku gotin eğer tişteki nebdilete be emtkarın ji peşengehi derxin vizilami.
Only his colleagues and his contemporary Kosovan artists told him that if he is disturbed by this person, they could kick him out of the exhibition.
Lemin peyvek jere got. Mu got Xude menabine. Ev Xudayê ve menabine.
He only told them one thing, that their God does not see us.
Loma ev super mazlum. Pişti demek ki vek kronolojik giriş merhale ki ku UFO ben ser embejin Tigris River vek videoya min de heye u Kurdistan'ı xlas bikin.
In Rome, this image became something else, where the Superman comes to the Tigris River and saves Kurdistan.
Hina libenda wine.
And he is waiting for the Superman that saves Kurdistan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, with the new Superman movie out, people are thinking that this is a current new new response to a new Superman movie out that's in theaters now. But
Many layers.
I had to show them that this was like 20 years ago, and now you can see what Senair looks like, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, and
Thank you.
just I had just a minute or so. If there's any further explanation or sharing on the flag.
Would you like to Şener خواستم بسیار بگیرید در شتکت سر درباره بیکاری بیجی
وقتی مه
بیجی بسیار دیگه درباره کاری
باشه از ببیجم پرورده های یال کردستانی لهمی دورن کردستانی هر پارچه این کردستانی جی وک هفت.
The education in all part of Kurdistan, it seems similar to him.
گاو ام زاروک بون جبو ام کردیا خواه جبیر بکن و هینی ترکی ببین ام بشون دبستانه.
The education system was used to brainwash the Kurdish children to forget Kurdish and learn the occupiers' language.
و مارشن واين سرودن واين نتوي هيبون تركاجي مدزاني.
They were obligated to sing Turkish anthems in the education system, nationalistic Turkish anthems.
وهر جاره ما اماده بون جبوكو و نجادي ام برز بكن بلند بكن.
They were forced to tell them that they could raise their voice and that their ethnicity put them up high.
The flag ده ala nahuye nina.
In the video you don't see
the photograph. Sorry, the photograph.
In this photo,
yeah.
In the photograph, you don't see the flag.
Flag. Yes. Le وكو ستوان جبر نيريني تراوما در باسكربه bu zamanı.
Trauma does part. Oh, it's yeah. Their neck is up high as if that they have gone through a trauma, a physical trauma.
Yes, physical trauma. جبركو من باور دكركو هنرمند يعني نویسکارن کو د متنگه که د کلون جی که کلونیال د دیجین گش هوسانه که ماسین واین فیزیکی هنه.
Because he feels that those artists who live under colonialism, any place where it's called colonialism, those artists have disabilities, just like this image that they are suffering physical disability.
و یاراس از نخوازم لسر کاری خو گلک بپیون.
To be honest, he says that to be honest, I don't want to speak too much about my work.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, I just wanted folks to know. So we in the gallery we are showing the flag of for Muslims. I want them to have a little background on what they can come see when they're here. We're also featuring outside the gallery. We have a 40-foot long LED screen that we use for media projects. So also we are featuring 3 of Senair's short media works. So when you come to the gallery, you can also check out our outside media screen for Senair's 3 video works. Fantastic. We are rolling along. Next, we'll hear from Bezar. So Baruch, if you could introduce our friend Bezar.
Of course. Thank you. And thank you, Sened. That was amazing to hear. Now we have Bezar Ardini. She is born in Mardin, Kurdistan, and raised in Nashville, Tennessee. She is a fiber and craft artist whose work explores cultural displacement and her family's immigrant story. Her art has been exhibited nationally and internationally, including Bevelet, the Unexpected Storytellers at NGBK in Berlin, and We Count, First Time Voters at the Frisk Art Museum, which won an award of excellence from the Tennessee Association of Museums. Featured in publications such as Nashville Scene and Native Magazine. She was awarded Best in Show at the 2021 Best of Tennessee Craft Biennial, excuse me, recently completing an artist residency at Arquitopia in Peru. She deepened her practice through Andean textile and weaving traditions. Bezod is currently pursuing a master's degree in fiber and textiles at the School of the Art Institute of Chicago. Thank you, Bezod.
Oh, thank you, Baruch. Hi, everyone. My name is Bezar Ardini. Thank you, everyone, for being present and for joining us. And so honored to be amongst all these artists, incredible storytellers. So thank you all for also being here. So I will share my screen, if that's okay. Let's see. Is that set? Can you see my PowerPoint?
Yes, thank you. Looks great.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Okay, so I would like to start with this photo. My practice has primarily been in fibers and in textiles, but I'm also interested in archives, storytelling, and really focusing on the diasporic experience. So this image I always go back to because this was actually my first home. When we talk about displacement and we talk about diaspora, one of the largest questions that lingers within our existence is, where is home? So this image really embodies that whole sense of like, where is this place? Where do we go from with this photo? So I was 2 years old when my family got displaced in Nashville, Tennessee. Most of my identity was between two cultures, two languages, two communities. And really, so many questions come up with diasporic identities. Who are we in displacement? What do we continue to carry with us ingrained from our homeland, our heritage, our culture, our ancestors? How do we navigate liminal spaces of growing up between these dualities? How do we balance these extreme dualities? What is home? Where is home? So my practice really is a reflection of all these questions. I joke all the time that my Kurdish has a Southern accent because I grew up in the South. So really, really thinking about identity and how fluid it can be as well when you are in displacement. When I started working with textiles and fibers, I was actually in the painting program, but absolutely hated painting. I realized quickly that I love being tactile and working with my hands. And so I really started just looking back at textiles and how they're so interwoven within the Kurdish culture, whether it's carpets depicting the dreams of the weavers, whether it's motifs of the nature in our motherland. Here we have great examples of embroidery on prayer rugs, on vests, and different ways that fibers are being used. And then we can also acknowledge how dresses have been a symbol of resistance and protest, and how dresses have become or have always been a really important part in our identity. And so thinking about all this, I slowly started interviewing my mother. When you are growing up in diaspora, there's a huge separation between your generation and your parents' generation. There is so much misunderstanding and so many barriers to create and understanding of each other beyond just the caretaker. So I started doing a series of interviews with my mother and really trying to ask what was their experience within the refugee camps. And eventually I got her to let loose of just really sharing the daily life and talking about what they did. And so she shared this piece of fabric with me, and she talked about how in the refugee camps, they would take rice sacks and use them as cross grids to, as grids to cross stitch. And so basically embroidering these blankets and these pillows, and then the men in the refugee camps would go to the closest town and sell them and get money so that they could afford food. And so this just really, really fascinated me, just thinking about this collective community labor that's happening in the extreme moments of survival. And at the same time, I was, researching all of this and thinking about my own practice, and it just made so much sense that I started translating my paintings into thread. And at that moment, it just became so intuitive that I started pushing my embroidery more. So one of the pieces in the exhibition here, Giving and Taking, this is just a reflection on a small moment of my childhood. I'm one of 7 kids, never a quiet moment in my family's house. It is always chaos when we were younger. And so my mom really every day took the time to take care of every child and give every child the attention and care they needed, because that is the way that they were maintained to survive in these refugee camps. And so I just took this photo, this quiet moment of a mundane moment that really just symbolizes the care and the love that is both giving and taking within these familial relationships. And going back to archives, so like I just mentioned, that is based off of a family photo. I'm also working with photo letters. So when my family got displaced to Nashville, we were the second wave of Kurds that got displaced in Nashville, leaving the Anfal genocide. And so we started basically sending photo letters to Kurdistan, and then family members from Kurdistan will send these photo letters back to Nashville. And so there's this exchange of communication, of kinship that's happening that were never tangible, but through a tangible object. So I'm taking these family photos I see as archives now and translating them into thread. And before I even do that, I do manipulate the photos and thinking about displacement, where details are either missing or I'm adding details, thinking about collective memory, thinking about, and this goes back to my interviews with my mom. She would tell me these stories, and as she's telling me, one time she would say one way, and the next time she would forget someone. So thinking about the way we story tell and how we form our identity and diaspora. So I started pushing this series more and really playing with my threads, allowing the figures to be more abstracted. Again, to think about memory, collective memory, but also memory as a home. Because I feel like the essence of like my mom's dialogue and conversations with her really captured her living or finding a home within these memories. And some of these images show the stark contrast between culture and our new life in America. And so I'm really capturing this, what I call is like a phenomenon of Kurdish migration that happened in the 90s. Kurdish migration in the States has not always been a thing. And when my family got displaced here, it is almost like a phenomenon, like there's not too many Kurds at that time. So I'm really trying to capture what the landscape was like when we had to slowly assimilate into American culture. And that goes for us kids too. Like my statement earlier, my Kurdish literally has a Southern accent. Assimilation becomes a form of surviving and trying to find and navigate places that you don't belong, which is very unfortunate, but that is the process of trying to survive here. So I still do embroidery, but more recently I started going to grad school, and I've always wanted to weave, and I was determined to learn how to weave. And I'm still working with these archives. How do we tell these stories? How do we understand the landscape of displacement? And so the series that's in the exhibition right now, I am still working with these images, but looking at the landscapes and treating the bodies differently. Thinking about displaced identities as being more fragmented, and thinking about the landscape and how landscapes are never stable when you're constantly in between places. Thinking about how identity is both fluid, but also always almost at the brink of fraying away completely. And also just like untangling your own identity and constantly trying to figure out what is this duality that happens within the existence of diaspora. So with these, I am working with a digital loom, and I always say that the loom is like my collaborator. When I say digital loom, I don't mean a jacquard where you just press a button and then it's making these pieces. I am physically making these pieces still, but it becomes like a language of coding. So I'm actually translating these photographs into this new technological language and creating this new language within textiles to bring up this image. So there's a layer of coding this archive that for me, where there is a disconnection, you know, these are my memories, but these are also my family's memories. Where do I see myself? I'm so young. Do I remember these memories? So there's this disconnection. It also happens with language, you know, when I'm thinking of speaking Kurdish, sometimes English comes out. When I'm thinking, it's always English, but so there's always this disruption that happens within ourselves. And so I am basically translating these photographs and distorting them and fragmenting them, and letting the machine also work with me to make this possible. And I'm still going back in and still doing handwork and post weaving work, where I'm going in and treating the bodies differently. And you know, not thinking of it just as one singular experience. When I'm looking back at the embroidered images of my family members, those are specific people, whereas I'm allowing these figures to fill in the absences and of many people, and not just my own experience, but how this is more of a universal experience, especially here in the States. And so, yeah, so I feel like that's really what I'm working with and what I presented here in the exhibition. And these pieces are double-sided. I don't have the photos of them on the backside, but again, going back to this idea of duality, like what side do we show of ourselves to others? What side are they seeing of us? So there's always this back and front that's being both visible and both present, both and absent as well. And that is it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Again, so many hearts and appreciations flying across the screen.
Thank you.
Yes, wonderful. Okay, so we do have one more artist who is not here that I do want to show and share about. And Baruch, I'll give you a break and I will share about Nuveen's work, and folks can show and also meet Nuveen who cannot be here today. So Isabella, if you could show Nuveen's pieces, I'll share. Okay, so Nuveen Bawari was born in Nashville, Tennessee, and grew up in Dahok, Kurdistan. She received her MFA from the University of Tennessee in 2022, and her BS in art from Tennessee State in 2019. She's been shown in galleries across the world and has had some great residencies, and currently lives in Albany. So I'll share a little bit of her statement featuring her photo work, which we have in the gallery now. So she says, through the collection of and repurposing of artifacts from my community, such as worn Kurdish clothes, fabrics, and used rugs, I explore the inherited histories and cultural meanings embedded within the materials. Textiles in my work serve as tools of resistance, embodying the fluidity and adaptability of language. Rather than focusing on what is lost in translation, I rummage into the shapes and symbols that emerge from living between clashing cultures, languages, and materials. My practice draws deeply on Kurdish poetry, particularly in the dual interpretations found in its floral motifs, political and romantic, connecting ideas of place, body, and identity. These poems often weave fragmented and imagined landscapes as acts of resilience and survival. In a similar way, I construct new worlds in my work by piecing together architectural fragments, shapes, and textiles. Through a combination of collage, painting, textiles, and installation, I investigate the intricacies of assimilation, material culture, and the contradictions of diasporic identities. My work often moves between the decorative and the interrogative as I unravel cultural symbols, redraw borders, and reimagine the space between homeland and host land. That's from Nuveen. So we wanted to show and share Nuveen's work as well. There's my timer. Sorry. And invite you to share. The piece that we have in the gallery is this floor-length piece on the left here, called The Teacher. So when you come visit, you can see it in person. It has much texture and the paint and painting and glitter and a lot of layering. So we appreciate Nuveen offering her work to us. All right, y'all. And with that, I know people have comments, questions. I know the artists want to also probably question each other. I know Baruch and I have a list of questions for us to dig into and pick apart some questions of materiality and making and things. But we wanted to open it up to the room and allow congratulations and questions first. So please, you're welcome to unmute yourself and raise your hand. And thank you. I see Zara first. Tiba.
Hi, Elisa.
Hi.
Finally,
happy you're here. Thank you.
You made it.
I'm so happy you're here. Thank you.
Yeah, actually, I just want to put a short comment. I have no question. Everything was so good. I'm honestly speechless now. It was amazing to hear all these stories. They were truly touching my heart. And I can say that every word deeply moved me. And now that I know the stories behind all this amazing work, I can't even wait to come and see in person. I've been very busy with work, but very, very soon I'm gonna see all these great works. Thank you, all the artists that were sharing all these works with us. It was great. Thank you, everyone.
Our pleasure. Yes, come visit. We'll see you soon. Diva works up at the Mason Square Plaza, and I found out that she had Kurdish background. She was very, very, very excited to know about the show, and I know she mentioned that she will come in her cultural attire and dresses when we have our closing reception. So thank you for representing locally. All right. You're welcome to put comments in the chat as well. I can read them out loud. Let me know. But Baruch, if you want to kick off a question,
yeah,
let's do that.
I think I'll start with a simple question. And some of you have already kind of
answered in expressing and talking about your art, but if you could say again, or if maybe you have another story to say, how do you start when answering the question, "Who am I?" And whoever wants to take that.
I think I kind of answered that, but let somebody else answer that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody who didn't or would like to add to it.
No takers? Should we choose?
I think I can
You guys
go. I was thinking about this and I was thinking how I is like the shortest word, but like it's such a loaded word. And it's a word that, yeah, it has so much complexity to it. But I see myself as, you know, child of the sun, daughter of the mountains. That's really how I view myself. As someone mentioned, I'm a maker, I'm a dreamer, I'm a student of the world. At the end of the day, though, I am also human, you know, and being human comes with not perfection, but learning and adapting and surviving. And so I think that really informs me being an artist. But before being an artist, I think truly this is who I am.
Thank you. I guess
Thank you.
I have a follow-up question for that and for anybody. As being the resident host of all of your works, and you know, with my curatorial lens, and desire to really educate and let folks know. And I mean, you know, I don't know all. I've been researching and learning along the way. But in making it and having somebody experience it, what's the ideal impact of your work? Like, what interaction with the work would make you feel successful and impactful?
Should we go in the same order that we did the presentation?
No, I mean, not I mean, you know, not every artist has to respond to all the questions, but if it so strikes you, please do.
Can anybody go first? Pedram, you
Yes.
feel it seems like you're ready. No, all right. What I want to convey in my work, I will go first. What I want to convey or present in my work is that, like Sinner said, Sinner mentioned that how he is no longer believing in art in a general view of it. I kind of feel similar. I I grew up studying classical or Western version of art in Iraq, and I mentioned in my statement how my world were reversed when in Iraq, where I went to school, or South Kurdistan, I I studied Western uh, art mostly. There was not much of it Eastern art. Not until I was here then I discovered or revisited my ancestors or my origins. And in my work, what I want to convey is that in our modern life, we are seeing so much atrocities that either we get desensitized or we try to or we become radicalized of it. And in both versions are kind of extreme or kind of take us to extreme. But what I want to do is, instead of taking the surface of the issue of the subject matters, I want to delve into it. I want to investigate the work. I want to get into the details. And in the classical, like old version of humanity and learnings and science, especially for Aristotle's, the art was more in details, and a human had more patience for the details. And I think we lost a touch of ourselves for losing those details when we are talking about the contemporary human, that we are ephemeral and we are so ingrained on our life. It's more just an image and a moment, and we are not digging deep into the issues. What I want to convey in my work is that I want to return in the sense of the contemporary way of exploring details, but I want to investigate that. That's what I want to show in my work. In sense of impact, I want to force the audience to go through these details and look at these atrocities, for example. So this is the storytelling of our modern life, and especially through the lens of a Kurdish version, you know, with that, as you could tell from all the artists, how many layers that we have to deal with, and all of every single of their work spoke of so many layers and so many meaning behind them. So that's what I would like to achieve in my life. Thank you.
Thank you, Honer. Does any artist have questions of each other? I'm just curious.
I have.
Right? Yeah.
I really don't have a questions, but I notice so many notes in front of me. For example, for Mirror of Pedram, that the image of mirror was used in the wedding. So the mirror was put in front of the bride, especially in Rujhalat. One of my person, Namu, told me about that. I don't know if you could shed more details about that. And that mirror was, as you said, a symbol of beauty. And in front of a bride was a symbol of beauty. And the bride was held high on either was a mule or the horse was traveled from a village to a village through the mountains. And in the mountains, it was the best to use mules to navigate through the mountains rather than horses or donkeys. Oh, usually use donkeys as well. But in the images of the Kurdish weddings in traditional image, the only person would ride the mule or the horse was the bride, and the rest of people would just walk. Nobody was on the like on any animals. That's what reminded me. Your work. That's what reminded me, and also for Sahar or Shana, that's what she prefers to be called. When she talked about braiding, I just remembered how many songs that we have in Kurdish about braiding, and if you could talk about that, or Kazi we call, how many songs are about Kazi in particularly. And I'm very fascinated about that movie, Zare. And when Bezar was talking, I just put a note in front of me that one of the concepts that Edward Said talks about in Orientalism, the concept of in between, that we don't know that losing ourselves, and that concept of it between, when you are moved from a place to another, where you don't belong to any of those places. Do you feel yourself belong to here or Kurdistan? Could you talk about that as well? Thank you. Those are my questions.
All right, let's get the ball rolling. I know.
So,
I took notes too. I was like so curious. I think Pedram, you had the first questions up to Pedram. Do you want to respond, Pedram?
Yeah, I mean, I love this interpretation of the work, I started thinking about the meaning of mir in Kurdish. We say awena. Aw is water and wena is image. Awena. Awena. And I feel that it captures the kind of the importance of it. Both it kind of it has been it has a synonymous relationship to ow, and also a synonymous relationship to the idea of representation or wena. And also in Kurdish culture, if you look at southern parts of Kurdistan in Rojhelat, there is in Kermashan, there is a temple for the goddess of water in Rojhelat, Anahita. And so there is this kind of complex web of meanings and forms of regarding the concept of water and its healing properties and its kind of symbolism. And I think one of the reasons that it's placed in front of the bride is because of those kind of beliefs, ancient beliefs, that it has kind of moved through generations and has changed. And also previously in our culture, they used to polish silver really well, so you could see yourself. So mirror existed, but not in form of glass in the Middle East in general, and it was very expensive sort of thing. So in a way, a lot of people from Horaman, the village, they told me about the first time they witnessed that piece up there. They thought it has a new spring has emerged from the mountains, because there is also this, they have this belief, the Kanibel, which is a very big spring water coming from lower side of that village, comes literally from in between the rocks and makes like this big river that joins Sirwan and eventually becomes a part of the Dajla. This river, they believe one of their saints commands the mountain to make water. Very, very like long time ago, ancient times. So that idea for them, it was like, we thought for a second a new saint has kind of commanded the mountain to make a new water coming out. Yeah, it's sort of, it does that for me. Thanks for your questions, Onar. I honestly am like, it's so, I love to learn about each one of your works. I just feel it will take me some time to digest and form further thoughts. Especially, I was more familiar with or was in exhibition before with most of the artists, but not with Bezar, and I'm happy that in this exhibition we share space.
Absolutely. Thank you. Sahar, I know we all appreciated the ritual and education on braiding. And do you remember Hunar's question to you on?
To be honest, no. Hunar, it would be appreciated if you could just like
kindly
I
repeat the
I was
question.
wondering if you could take a minute and talk about Gazi more, which you talked about, but how we are using that in songs and how that songs is a form of resistance for Kurds. And is there any connection for you in this work, or is there any could you shed more light on that that idea between Kazi and songs writing?
Sure. So I think I briefly talked about the connection of existence of braids, braiding, and that momentum of like sharing intimacy between like mom and daughter, and then that's not specifically like it's a feminine practice, but at the same time, like once I was researching, I noticed that it's pretty much common, at least it used to be among Izadi male Kurds. So you would see there is some images of like even Kurdish men that they would braid. So I'm not just going to but since my focus was on specifically Shamaran and how like Kurdish women is like part of their hairstyle, that's why I like focus on this part of our culture. But like how much it's common like in our Kurdish music, song, poem, um, it's obviously yes, as you said, it's in over like in all parts of Kurdistan, like Kaziya Yaram. I don't know, like right now I don't have anything in top of my head, but like let's say in a loving way, there is the men like trying to say in a romantic way, elaborating, especially like emphasizing on the length of the braid, how you would like the shows, the images that I showed, like it's technically like depicted in the poem, Kurdish poem as well. And then like speaking about resistance, like once Jina revolution happened in Kurdistan, so we would like see how women started like cutting their hairs, like just like braids, or just to show that solidarity. I'm not sure if you meant part or not, but like that predominantly my practice was like that, showing that strength, like through that collective acts, how like by putting warp and woof of that braiding, and like that individual thread is going to like altogether is going to shape the unified form of braids, like as a society in general. Did I respond to your question?
Thank you.
Sure.
Awesome. All right. Okay, so from the audience, I'll call on those who have their hands raised. Senna.
Hi, can you hear me right now? I'm in a public
Yes.
library, so I'm talking a little. So thank you so much, everyone. I am Sena, a sociology PhD student at University of Virginia. I'm really excited to be actually like here to learn about the perspectives of the artists, about their artworks, their production, and how they engage with Kurdishness and the cultural trauma that we all actually know from Kurdistan, but actually we are seeing here like really various representations of trauma in different parts of Kurdistan. So I have two questions actually to all artists and one specific question to Bezar. So again, as I said, like the first thing I want to ask actually is like about the space actually, because they are in diaspora, all of them, and they are exhibiting both in the US, but also their works have been exhibited before in Kurdistan and other parts of the world. So like how do they see the engagement of the Kurdish audience and the others? So like how kind of like connections, like maybe like unique connections that Kurdish audience realizes, sees in the motifs and the symbols in their artworks. This is the first question. The second question I have is about like actually briefly if they can talk about a little the challenges of artistic production in Kurdish cultural spaces. Because when we talk about like statelessness and trauma, etc., we also talk about like lack of institutions. And this means like lack of artistic cultural institutions and like how does this affect their own practice. And my question to Bezar is like, again, really, Pedram also said the same thing, but like I've seen almost like, I mean, I've met all the other artists in person other than Bezar. So it's like my question to you was like, you mentioned like the change of landscapes, change of like with displacement, change of the language, the accent in your own practice. And you said actually this change of the language is something unfortunate because it's also like affecting our identities in a way that we're trying to always like bring things together, like again, like recapture and like reimagine what Kurdishness is. But what I really see when I saw your work is like actually like again the richness that comes from this change and like the change of the scenes and change of the countries and like all the like migration like all the way through from Kurdistan to here. So like how do you interpret this like richness aspect of these changes that bring to your art? Thank you.
Thank you, Sina. So I will start with how do you see the engagement with the Kurdish audience or Kurdish community? Honestly, I feel like I had a very privileged experience with growing up with the largest Kurdish population in the States. So I grew up with about 20,000 Kurds. And that's not the situation for many Kurds in the States. So I grew up with a very tight-knit community that was able to sustain our culture. And that was such a beautiful thing. So I feel like as the generations have gone on, we've lost more and more of our culture. I will say the largest project that I had the most engagement with was actually an archival video project where I digitized home videos, VHSs, and was able to archive them within the Metro library system so that the younger generations can go back and see how this transition happened from refugees to immigrants to settling into Nashville. I think that whole experience and allowing the Kurdish audience to see this montage of all these videos that I was able to digitize was honestly very healing. It was a very, very like healing moment for the community. So it's always been positive, honestly. I think a lot of them see themselves in the pieces. So I think that's, as an artist, like what matters most to me is making space for others. And so I think that's always been something beautiful to experience within my own art. Your second question, the lack of or the absence of institutions of history. I think that is why I rely so heavily on archives and preserving these archives. But yeah, a lack of information, a lack of history. I am once exiled within a country that is occupied by 4 occupiers, but I'm also exiled again beyond that. And so this double layer of exile, there's even more removal and absence of connection between familial connection, kinship, family photos. There's so much intimacy that gets lost. There's so much life that gets lost in this transition. And that's been honestly something very, very hard for me to navigate. And I think that's where it ties into your next question. It's really, how do I reimagine? How do I hope for something better for the next generations? If I'm not able to translate this experience into something new to give to the next generation, what will they have, since there's already a lack of this story? And a lack of access to going back home or an access to family members. So yeah, I think the word reimagine is very powerful. I think that that is something that we really have to do, especially in the political climate that is in the States here as well, is really trying to think of better ways of going forward. And so I think that these are things that I navigate within my own work as well. But to your third question about the richness of the landscape, will you kind of rephrase that just so I can understand it a little better?
Yeah, thank you so much. So it's actually so I'm trying to remember my question. So it was mostly about like, because you mentioned like how scenes change, like landscapes change, and like how the language change, because I remember one thing you said, like the change in your accent, like right, like having like a southern accent, you're Kurdish. So it's like bring like, because what I see is like really like recapture, put them together, and like actually in a really beautiful way to make it like possible for others to see. So I'm actually like seeing something really valuable here. So I just want you to elaborate a little bit on that.
Yeah, I think that maybe that's something that's like embodied in us, where even through trauma, through tragedy, I think our culture has shown us how to insist on living and insist on continuing. And I think that comes into the work, and what and thank you for saying that, but comes out as something beautiful. You know, I think it comes out of like a hunger too. I feel like that is really just manifesting from all these needs of personal needs, but also wanting something better. Yeah. Thank you for your question.
Thank you. Next, there's a question in the chat. Chinar, if you want to come off of mute and ask your question.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Chinar. I am actually Baruch's sister, and so I see a lot of emojis from him. I'm also an alumni from George Mason and part of the Kurdish, I guess you can say, diaspora in the DMV, Virginia area. So my question is more so for everyone. I think you kind of addressed it in the last one, but I'll ask and then you guys can go and take it away. With so many Kurds living in the diaspora, art can serve as as a powerful way to preserve our culture. What are some ways that we can encourage the youth to engage with and stay connected through it? Is everyone tired?
I think, hi, I may be able to address that a little bit. There are millions of, for example, different other ethnicities, nations live in diaspora. And the ways that I see it as a pattern, they can preserve their cultural ties through institutional support. Institutions create discourse. Institutions are not merely walls or empty spaces. They're spaces of generating knowledge, connecting people. They're also financial hubs. They create and generate culture. So what we lack as now as a stateless people in diaspora, and way more of us live in Europe, is lack of institutions. So, and institutions of support. A lot of people think about, for example, a museum. as this place that holds some art or something, artifacts. But museums are universities, they're academias, they're spaces of research, they're spaces of cultural investigation and connection. They create culture, they make discourse, they formulate ways of ways for a group of people to understand themselves much deeper and much more elaborate. And as a nation with millions of us in diaspora, we really are suffering, and that is not that cannot be the kind of responsibility of the artist or the story writer or the people who really take on this kind of impossible task of creating meaning, but it's the responsibility of the community and generating institutions that can hold and maintain that meaning, lifted up, so we do not have to, in each exhibition, in each moment, in each event, again reinvent all of the conversations that we have to put into one thing to just explain a simple fact: the Kurds exist, and those countries are occupiers, and we have the choice to not identify ourselves as Iranians, Iraqis, Turkish, and Syrian. We have that, and through institutional support, we only have that capability, this collective form of saying we are a unique people and we deserve, like every other people on this planet, to have a distinctive form of recognition. At least if we don't get it by our by the countries who have securitized and criminalized our existence, at least from the liberal kind of hubs of democracy. So I hope that answers your question.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Lots of movement. Yes. Okay. We have 5 minutes left for our last two questions. Diva, you can ask yours next.
Elisa, I think it's better Mustafa first ask his question.
Okay, sure. Mustafa, she gave you the question.
All right, thank you. First of all, I want to say amazing exhibition. I'm looking forward to see it in person. I haven't yet, but I can really relate to a lot of what you guys been saying, and very wonderful work. As we talked about institution, and you guys mentioning a lot of institutions, I'm currently a senior at George Mason, finishing both my BFA and my MAT in art education. I'm working on my senior project, and it focuses around the idea of institutional violence. An institution is like a double-edged sword, if you will. It's the tool that you use to keep history, to allow for conversation, but it's the tool that you use to commit the most horrific violence on a large scale. And as you guys talk about nation and the Kurdish nation, I was wondering, when it comes to violence with institutions, how would you, like, what would be ways to prevent that? Because I also hear about Kurdish disagreement among each other as well, and there's violence in that as well. So what does a nation mean to you? And I took a refugee and border class, and that was very insightful last fall. And I know, like, for example, a country like France, there used to be many different languages there, not just the French language. But today, when you think of France, you automatically think of the French language. So all of those languages, in a way, sort of disappeared. And I know there is movement and there's artists out there who go out and make an effort to collect dying traditions or dying tribes. I don't know if my question was clear enough, but what does a nation mean to you? And how can we have a nation that is not just another nation, right? Like just another country.
I'd like to answer that if that's okay. I think we wanted to reference that in this poem, how we are the friend of the peacemakers, and it references in this poem, especially as it's clear in the poem that the poet tries to climb that mountain to prove his identity. But then at the end, he says that we friend of peacemaker, we are not here for fighting. And that's what we wanted to emphasize on. As we and you can tell in many of our artist friends that the Kurds are the native to that land, and usually when and that is the land where the agriculture started at, in the Jarmo village. It's in Kurdistan, and usually where there is agriculture, or the farmers are usually peaceful people. The hunter-gatherer or the hunters are usually the violent one. And we want to promote that culture of the Kurdish identity, the farmer, the peaceful, the non-violent person, that as we reference Islam, where I usually refer to Islam as my mother's Islam, where it was in her heart, not in her language. She's Kurdish speaking, does not understand Arabic, but she prays in Arabic. That is not that's not a political religion. That is just pure in her heart. And so that's what we want to refer to. And we reference music and Kurdish culture, and I want to reference one of the Kurdish poems, Badr Khan Sindi, when he says, "Kare ma kurda ava khabatu kayfu shara." This is what we could do. Sana is smiling there. This is what we could do. Our identity is resistance and happiness and dance and war. But that is through the war that we have to prove ourselves. That's the issue. In the term of not accepting each other and the divides between Kurds, in my opinion, that is the work of the our surrounding occupiers that uses us as the proxies throughout the modern history. This wasn't as prominent in Kurdish history, but this is the work of modern states around us that manipulates Kurdish powers to be against each other. Now, in a new generation, we don't find as that divide where between in new Kurdish media we talked about an institution, but in new Kurdish media that we are trying to have, for example, a news one in Sorani dialect, one in Kurdish dialects. So one of the aspect of Kurdish identity is acceptance, and we refer to it as Kurdish languages, not just one Kurdish language. It's Kurdish languages that are indigenous to that area, and we want to preserve that with their in many form of like identity that they have: Jewish, Muslim, Christianity. I hope that I answered your question.
Thank you. I know it's a really tough question. Thank you.
Yeah.
Belki
Shannon, do you
as yes, هنردیزا آریکاری بکه گلکی باش به. ادخوازم سرسرمن. ادخوازم در حقا و پرسیده چند تشتاب بیجم.
You'd like to say something about this question?
I'm so sorry to interrupting. Actually, my question is also close to this question. So one of my friends, Afshin, is joining us from Denmark. So he want me to ask a question which is actually related. So, and also I was thinking if Sanar Obi can answer this, I will surely answer, just ask the question Afshin has is, we all know about the Kurdistan. Kurdistan is all full of history and civilization. And actually, for example, Shah Moran, he was saying that concepts like Shah Moran, Turkey wants to take it under its own name, as well as the history of Rojava, Zagros. And so, what should we do in the future to protect this history and do not let them to steal or take it from us? I think Sanarobi can answer this very well. Thanks so much.
Cultural
Thank you very much.
appropriation. All right,
Thank you very
Sanar.
much.
از
أنا
الترجمة بكم.
مفهوم كير سباز دكم اتخوازم ويب بيجم شمارة هرمافروديتا نفسها نيرومية ميرونية.
Traditionally, that human is defined between gender of male and female.
Yes. دايكا من حتى كتابي رامن اف تشيروك غاوا ازاروك موج بردغوت يعني تشيروكا شهمران لهمي دفرين كردستان هي از باور دكم.
When he was a child, his mother would narrate the story of Shamiran, and he believes that the story of Shamiran is prominent and it's being told all over Kurdistan.
بمن pişti efkas karesat genocide merin Kürt hunermendin mer in Kürt jî aliyekî wan bû hemra Afrodit yani wek nêr û mê tevgeriyan ne tenê wek mêr wek nêr û mê tevgeriyan.
After the genocide, مقصدات الجنوسايد يزيديان.
Yes, of course.
Yeah,
not
after,
just but the all of Kurds.
all of after the genocide
yes.
Of ISIS crimes against Yazidis, that the Kurdish male artists are being presented as male and female, not just a male. So it's more fluid.
Çünkü ez bawer dikim li tu deverê cîhanê balyozê wê dewletê consul general li hunermendekî bi telefonê nagere û gef lê naxe tehdît nake li tu deverê dinyayê ev nîne.
You wouldn't find in
lê ez
ez dibêjim tamam bike
li gelek caran li gelek pêşengahên min de konsûle general wê dewletê min geriya û gef li min xwar divê tivê pêşengehê çênekî divê te van karan çênekî û istihbarata Tirk dihat pêşengehên min yani li tu deverê cîhanê ev tişt nîne ez çima marûzî vê tiştê dibînim hege ez welatekî Skandinavya bahatema dinyayê ez ê newsa bûma ez nizan bêjim ez ê van karan nekirama çima tê serê min.
Jenner says that in any part of the world, you wouldn't find if there is an art exhibition somewhere at the consul or the consul of that of the state would call you, a general consul of the state would call the artist and tell them that they should not exhibit their work. And Shannon is questioning why he had to suffer through that. And if he had lived or he had grown in Scandinavia or one of these countries, he wouldn't have to answer that question, or he wouldn't have to suffer through that.
من gelek dixwast ku ez wekî hunermendekî İskandinav bem dinyayê ne wekî Kurd van tişta ji bo ku ez Kurdim dikim çünkü ez marûz mam ez tûşî van tişta mam
he would much rather to be as an like an Scandinavian artist, not as a Kurd, but because he has to do this, and he'd love to prove himself. That's why he's doing his art like that.
Çünkü eczanım hünermendeki İskandinav li ser dem time 8 saat video çekir bu. Min ev 8 saat temaşa kir paşi min li got min jêre got. Çi hewciyete 8 saat çetki li ser demê. Ew qedema we heye. Erê ew qedema wan heye. Li dema me nîne. Em bêdemin. Ji ber vê bêdemiyê em van tişta dikin. Ez wê baweriyê dime.
He saw an Scandinavian artist who had the work about time, and his concept was to perform for 8 hours. And Saner went to him and asked him, "Why you have to do this do this performance for 8 hours? Do you have time?" Because Saner feels like he does not have time. He doesn't have time to make art about time. He has to prove himself.
Bibin baweriya min de ev dema ku em dijîn ne dema me ye. Ne dema me Kurda ye. Roma em wisa fermo.
Tamam peki.
Loma em hinekî panikin, em hinekî dilezînin, em dixwazin çîroka bibêjin, em dixwazin çîrokên xwe ji însanên ku medeniyet dîtine, şaristanî dîtine bibêjin. Loma kuratorekî Biyanela İstanbulê Charles Eshe gava ez daxilî Biyanelê bûm, mînakeke wisa got bû. Kurd ji çîrok gotinê hez dikin. Çîroka dibêjin. Ji herkesî jî re çîroka dibêjin.
Oh, this is good. I don't know how I can translate this, but here. It's teşkili dest pê kir bû Sener te gotî.
Mesela çîrok gotinê. Yani em çima hez dikin ji vê meselê.
Yeah, this is there wasn't he's narrating a story, or he's telling about when he went to is it Istanbul biennial curator who told you that why Kurds are interested in telling the story. It's just they love to tell the narrative or to tell the story.
Çünkü digot nivîsî bû wek Sovyeta hunermendên Sovyet gava bin dîktatoriyê de bin dixwazin bi dizîkî çîroka bibêjin. Kurd jî ne wekî hunermendên Balkan. Çünkü tiştekî wisa heye. Edebiyata Kurdî ev tişt mühîm e huner ji kerema xwe wergerîne. Edebiyata modern a Kurdî li diasporayê jî dayîk bû. Li hunera Kurdî a hevçerk a contemporary li welat çê bû. Eger em qala Bakurê Kurdistanê bikin, ev tişt ji hevdû cuda ne, gelekî cuda ne.
Li her cihekî wisa. He talks about how that in Soviet Union the suppressed artists narrated the stories, and this is similar to the Kurdish artists that we are suppressed. That's why we are interested in telling the stories. In a Kurdish literature started from diaspora. Most Kurdish artists were in diaspora when they initiated magazines or story writings, but Kurdish contemporary art initiated from back home, from in Kurdistan, and that he says might be in Bakur, but I feel like it's all part of Kurdistan, because most of the artists here, all of the artists here, are originally back from Kurdistan.
Çünkü ev pêşenge li me dide zanîn ku heta salên notî me tu hunermendên derveyî Bakurê Kurdistanê nas nedikirin. منت زانی ل باشور کردستان هنرمند هنه منت زانی ل روجاوا هنرمند هنه منت زانی ل روشلات هنرمند هنه ما هر زانی کو کرد امن ام هنره دکن ل پاشه ما مزانی کو هنر او هنرمند كل وان دولة هنرتكن دترسينه اجي مراكتكن شاوا هنر دكار دولتك بروخينه شما افقص دترسن بلا نترسن هنر فيك ناكن دكار بك
When he was in Kurdistan, in North Kurdistan, he believed that they are only the one who are making art, that they didn't see any other Kurdish artists in other part of Kurdistan. And he was wondering, why do these countries are afraid of art? Does this art pose a threat to them? Is this a threat to them?
بله يعني وك قوتنا داوية زب بيجم قاوا از خواندكاري زانينجي هبو من بشتي حلبچه كرد برب كردستان وهاتن و لدياربكر جهبون قالك ان كردن باشور هاتن لدياربكر جهبون ويشاغي از زانينجي هدبوم ومن كفالك تابلويك تشكر ومن سر كفالي نفيسانت من دو گوتنن سیدای جگرخوی نویسان و مامۆستای من ترک هات گو دوێت vê kevalê vê penturê ji vir rakî ev ziman nîne ev huner nîne hûn nikarin hunerê bikin hûn ne şaristanin hûn ve medeniyet ne diye hûn nikarin loma dibêjim yani ev ne hewceyê ku ez qala travmaya bikim her hunermendekê Kurd xwediyê xwe û travmayekê ye لێ نە مەجبوریە وانە ببێژە نە مەجبورە قەڵەوان بکە تشتێک وازانم ئەڤە وەک دەستپێکێ دە پەدرام گوت من باوەری بە کوردستانێکە ئازاد هەیە ئەس فریدم دخوازم ئەژی بێ دخوازم نە تشتێکی مەزنە ئە دخوازم وەک هونەرمەندێکی سکاندیناو بڕەحەتی کارێ خوا بکەم بڕەحەتی کو هونەرە خوا بکەم کەس تەولی من نەبێ کەس من تەلەفۆنێ نەگەرە نەبێژە ئەس بالیۆزێ فەڵان دەولەتێ me و tu nikarî van tişta bikî istixbarata xwe neşîne pêşengehan min tehdît neke ez vana dixwazim loma ez li Amerîkayê me loma ez Amerîkayê me û gelek caran hevalên min ji min pirsin niha til Amerîkayê tu azadî tu dikarî karên gelekî baş bikî ev bijim ama lê ev ne tiştekî wisa ye çawa yani hani lê wek ruhiyet ez hîna li wirim ez ji wir qut nebûme fermo bibore
I'll try. I'll try to translate that. This is very heartwarming. He mentioned that earlier that this exhibition proved to us that there are artists in other parts of the Kurdistan, and what he wanted to do is to live as a Scandinavian artist, and he asked for freedom, as Pedram said. He said that Senar said that we want the freedom. We want that freedom to make our art without any consulate come to us or a security agent calling him that why he shouldn't make that kind of art. I really butchered your talk. I'm so sorry.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you all. I know that we're over time, but Rushton wanted to close us out with a brief question and a brief response from everybody that we can do now if all of you have time to stay.
All right, everybody. Thank you again for all of you showing up and for everything, really, this whole thing. For my last question, I guess everyone can answer the quickest they can with it, or maybe if they have a short story. So for me to start off, so Siobhan Padwed, who made the song that inspired from the same poem that this whole exhibit is inspired from. I grew up listening to him, just as many of you, all the time, and because of his music, and he is very much a patriotic symbol, and he is my father's favorite singer. So growing up, he was always the first thing I would hear in regards to music. So when it came to being Kurdish, he was always, other than the flag, he was always first and foremost that symbol to me. Was he the same for you guys? If not, who or what was? Um,
I
yeah,
did that
Hunayd,
question
you can
remind me
start.
of something that Senar said. I just add it. Senar said that in 1990, when Kurdish people from Bashur fled to Bakur from Bakur, he created a painting, and he wrote on that painting references from the Jagerpin's poems. And his art teacher, his Turkish art teacher, came to him and told him, "This is not art. You are savages, and you cannot create civilization. This is not for you. You shouldn't do this." And that was the part I forgot about his speech, right? That's what he said, Senator? Yeah. And so Shivan Parwar was a symbol for me. Yes, it's a symbol of resistance, and especially in this song, of course. Just as shortly I could answer. I could still listen to him, and it brings me back to my Kurdishness.
Cool, thank you. Anyone else?
Pretty much same here. We also really love Nasser Razazi, and yeah, these revolutionary songs are also very, yeah. They're people in Kurds in Rojava really love them.
Yeah, the song that was always in my mind was Dagarema, I will return, and that is the I will return us to my homeland. That is the song that we used to be played in the 1990s. This is, by the way, it was not allowed in other under the Ba'athist regime, but after 1990s and the semi-autonomous Kurdistan region, then we had a media. We could play our songs, we could play our music, and one of the songs that was played was Eger Imama from Nasr. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, just one. I'm sorry. The Mustafa's question or um, what he said stayed with me, so I wanna just briefly address that. What's wrong with being just a nation? That's all we want. Being recognized as a nation amongst all the other nations. It doesn't have to be something special, something grand, something that make it extremely complicated. All we lack is a state that could help our people, help our future, let our people live with dignity and with they could basically determine their own future, have to self-determination to not demonize our language, our culture, our art. No one would try to steal it. So far, one of the things that we suffer from is linguicide as an epistemicide. It's called epistemicide, or basically killing of someone's episteme or form of knowledge, understanding of the self. And that's all. And a nation is a group of people who, alongside similarities of language, culture, religion, geography, they find deep ties to one another and want to live with one another voluntarily and want to determine their own future. It's as simple as that, you know. It doesn't have to be very complex. And hopefully our disagreements, political disagreements, that shows actually we're a very diverse, very dynamic group of people that happens everywhere. Disagreement happens only in dictatorships. Otherwise, in any democracy, you look at people, people are very different. People have different visions, and that should be welcome. I think that's that probably should answer your question, but I'm not a
That's a
political
pretty good
scientist.
answer. Thank you so much. No.
Right. Thank you, everyone. Everyone. It's wonderful to go over time because it means people were engaged and had questions and were like curious and all of that. So I hope this curiosity for those who are in the neighborhood can come by and see this work and see the deeper meaning behind it and the artists that made it and their intentions and learn about their craft as well. So thank you so much for your time to all the artists and everyone that came and helped with us today. Again, the show is on view until October 25th. We are open Wednesday through Saturday. Our next event, hybrid, will be October 17th for the interdisciplinary panel. So hopefully we'll see you all again and we'll have more conversation, more questions, and more knowledge all together. But again, I will post this recording in Zoom on the webpage at masonexhibitions.org for us to see and come back to and remember and exchange and all of that. So thank you all for your time and sharing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much to everyone. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you all.